the Maine Senate in 2008. Ms. Gould is a granddaughter of an Army veteran of World War II and the daughter of a Navy veteran. She is also a member of the Air Force ROTC until she was injured and incapacitated for military service. Please join me at this time in welcoming Ms. Gould as she's escorted to our podium today. I'll ask at this time for Tech Sergeant Dutch, will you escort the speaker, please?
Thank you. Thank you, Commander Straitman, President Hook, members of the Legion and Auxiliary Post 87, ladies and gentlemen, it truly is my honor to be asked to be with you again and to deliver another Memorial Day address. Memorial Day. What are your first thoughts that go through your mind when you hear the words Memorial Day? The traditional start to the summer season, horrible traffic as tourists pour in and out of our beautiful state. We look forward to 3 days off from work, cookouts, backyard games, the fun and frivolity of a holiday. And if you grew up like I did when you think of Memorial Day, you can still hear your grandmother's voice in your head, and you know that no matter how hot or humid, unlike today, you absolutely cannot wear linen or white, especially not white shoes, until today. For me, this year, my very first thoughts, and my thoughts all the way through last night when I think of Memorial Day, is, good Lord, what have I gotten myself into again? Another speech. They're not going to want to hear from me for a third time. I've got nothing to say. I was stressed. Stressed over a little speech. Stress. Imagine the stress and the fear of young men and women leaving home, some for the very first time, to attend basic training and boot camp, and to then be sent to faraway lands to fight a war. Imagine the stress and heart-ripping anxiety of the mothers and fathers, of the wives who embraced them as they left, not knowing if it indeed would be the very last embrace. Imagine the stress and emotional angst of days and weeks and even months with no words from that child or that spouse or that parent who had been deployed, not knowing what fate may have befallen him or her. Imagine the stress and the fear and perhaps even the honor and the pride of that very moment when in the service to your country you realized you weren't coming home. Imagine the stress and the gut-wrenching pain of the knock on the door and of having to pick up the pieces of a shattered life and carry on. Carry on without your child. Carry on without the father of your child, who will only ever know his dad as the man in the picture beside the folded flag. Carry on without the warmth of your partner's hand in yours every day. So today is not about my silly little stress over a speech or whether it's appropriate to wear white, or thankfully even that most of us do indeed have a 3-day weekend. Today is a day of remembrance, a day of celebration and honor, a day of true thanks. It is about the men and women who are not with us today because they took the oath to serve the country as members of our great military, and who paid for that oath with their very lives. What is important about today is that you and I stand together as veterans, as families, as elected officials, and as members of our great community and our great nation, today laying aside our differences and truly uniting in thanks to our fallen and their families for answering the call to service. First declared by General John A. Logan in 1868 after the Civil War, then known as Decoration Day, it was designated for the purpose of strewing with flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who made their breasts a barricade between our country and its foes. It was in honor and remembrance of their ultimate sacrifice to this nation. Since that time, though the name and date has changed, it has been and it remains the most solemn of holidays that we honor the memory of those who served. Those women and men who came from every walk of life. They were our fathers, our sons, our mothers, our daughters, our friends, and our neighbors. They were all just ordinary people, living ordinary lives in places like North Berwick, Maine. But they were asked to make an extraordinary sacrifice. They answered the call not because they loved war, they answered her call for a higher purpose, to preserve liberty, justice, equality, and the right to live in a world free of tyranny. We cannot forget, not today, not tomorrow, not ever, the terrible price that has been paid to secure our way of life. The words of Franklin Delano Roosevelt are as true today as they were in 1936. Freedom cannot be bestowed. It must be achieved. And might I add, maintained. From the Revolutionary War, where more than 25,000 lost their lives, to World War II, which saw the death of more than 400,000, through today, more than 1 million men and women have made that ultimate sacrifice to bestow on us our freedom. And they bestowed that freedom on us, as the words inscribed in Arlington National Cemetery remind us, not for fame or reward, not for place or rank, not lured by ambition or goaded by necessity, but in simple obedience to duty as they understood it. These men suffered all, sacrificed all, dared all, and died. The red poppy, which so many of us wear today, became the symbol of remembrance and really of Memorial Day, shortly after the war that was supposed to have ended all wars, World War I. Poppy seeds blow about in the wind. They land on the ground where they will lay dormant for a very long time until they're disturbed, usually by farmers tilling the fields, but sometimes, unfortunately, by soldiers fighting on the battlefield. And the red poppy did indeed begin to grow around World War I battlefields in France and Belgium. And on the southeast edge of a little town in Belgium, there's an American cemetery and memorial where poppies grow, in Flanders Field. Made famous by Canadian Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, who is said to have penned the poem after watching his 22-year-old friend fall in battle. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky, the larks still bravely sing, fly scarce heard among the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved, and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up your quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field. For all who made that ultimate sacrifice, from fighting for our independence to maintaining our union, from the men of World War II who ended the Axis attempt at world domination, to those who served in Korea, preventing the further spread of communism, to our men of Vietnam who we failed to honor when they returned, to our men and women of Desert Storm, Iraq, Afghanistan, the war on terrorism, and in remote places all around the world. We hold your torch high. We do not, and we will not, break faith with ye who died. God hold you, bless you, and keep you and your family. We memorialize you, we remember you, we honor you, and we truly, truly thank you.